you want to know how to get more kills in Fortnite Reload? Well, in this video, I will go through a 42 kill solo versus squad win in Fortnite Reload, and we will look at all the things you can take away from my gameplay. If you enjoy this video at any point, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and to subscribe to my channel. Also, if you want to see me play live, check out my TikTok, link is going to be in the description. Alright, without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay. Alright, let's check out this gameplay and see what you can learn from it. You can see the title right here on the screen. I'm going to go into full screen in a second, but just so you know which gameplay I'm referring to, I'll also put a link in the description for this gameplay, so if you want to watch it, just the gameplay by itself after the fact, you can also do that. But let's just hop right into this gameplay and see what we can learn from it. So basically what you can see here, right, just basic stuff here. I landed at Paradise Palms, right? This is the desert map, and I landed at Paradise Palms, which is like the craziest hot drop on this map. I'm telling you, you do not have to land on hot drops like this to get, I don't know, something like a 20 bomb, maybe even a 30 bomb, but you only need to land at hot drops if you're going for something crazy like 30 bombs, 40 bombs, something like that. You can easily drop a 20 bomb without having to hot drop, so that's the first thing to note here. But let's see what I do here, right? I land on this roof, I'm uncontested, I immediately get an AR with a scope, and I'm able to pick up a kill right there.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, as you can see, first thing that I do, I got this kill because it was like a free kill. I was able to just laser down. But as soon as I realized, okay, there's people around me, I don't have a shotgun, I don't have like good mats, I don't have anything basically. I need to get the hell out of there because I'm not able to fight there. So I move out, right? I see another person over here, try to get this kill, another free kill. As long as I can get those free kills, I will stay aggressive, right? I will just keep pushing and try to get those kills, but if at any point I realize, okay, I'm in a dangerous spot, I'm going to try to move out. For now, everything fine.
There's nothing here, huh?
So we can just reload, we can just loot up, do all that kind of stuff, right? We loot up, and now we have a shotgun, some extra heals, a little bit of mats at least. So now we are basically in a spot where we can fight early game, right? We see there's steps in front of us, so we immediately push that guy. He did not expect us, right? This guy did not expect us because he was just oblivious. And at this point, I should probably mention that I'm in a pretty low rank still. So this is like a pretty easy lobby. And trust me, lobby difficulty plays a huge role in whether or not you'll be able to rack up kills. That is absolutely clear. But it also comes down to how you play it. Because honestly, I think in this lobby, most people would not have been able to get 42 kills. But as you can see, after every fight, I take the time that I need to heal back up, to reload everything, to just kind of, you know, check out my situation that I'm currently in and then move on from that. But I also do not just stop. You know, if you want to get more kills, something very important is as long as you have everything that you need, you do not have to stop and loot. As long as you have a shotgun, some heals, maybe some movement if possible, and just decent mats, you can keep fighting. There is no reason to walk around and loot and not do anything if you have everything that you need to fight. So far, there's not that much to say. Honestly, we're just slaying these kids because they're pretty bad. Obviously, one thing that is always going to be a factor is your mechanics, your aim, just your general skill. But that's not necessarily what I want to be talking about here. Obviously, if you just get better at fighting, that is going to transfer to getting more kills in-game. But here we're just going to talk about strategy, about little things that you can do without really having to drastically improve, right? And as you can see here, one important thing. I actually just dropped heals to get movement. This is crucial. This is something you really should take away. Always prioritize movement, right? Always prioritize movement. Because without movement, it's going to be super difficult to get from fight to fight. Of course, once you're in a fight, you can just keep on fighting the person. But as soon as that fight's over, what are you going to do from there on? You know, you need to move on to the next fight. And that's why you need movement. Next thing, what do you notice here? I'm pushing over here. And what do you see here? Pretty sure you can see this guy right here, right? You can probably see this guy on top of the roof. But did you also notice this guy? There's another guy in the corner. These are the kind of things that you need to be able to see if you want to get more kills, right? You will see later that we actually don't get the kill on the bottom, unfortunately. I think he just died. Someone else killed him or something. But you will see that I will actually look for this guy, and these kind of things make a difference. So basically, we see this guy, right? He's not that good again, so we can just kind of just push him, kill him. And you see, as soon as I get that kill, I go down. You remember? Right where I'm at right now is where the other guy was before. So this is something that is really important. I'm actually going to write that on the screen because it's so important, is to remember information, right? Information is key. If you want to get more kills, you need to know where people are at, how you can get there the fastest. And even if you don't fight someone right now, you need to remember that they were there. So that if you fight someone else before them, you can move on to fighting them afterwards. You want to go from one fight to another as quickly as possible to get as many kills as possible. And it is important to remember information in order to be able to do that. This guy's just a free kill. That's the next thing. I'm not going to stop the video for this. But you want to be able to get kills from people that are just gliding in the air, right? Literally, in this gameplay alone, I get like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 kills just from people that just landed in or are gliding in at the very moment. So what you need to work on if you have a problem with that is tracking people out of the air. One thing to note right here is you can see that I'm playing squads, right? And I'm basically playing solo versus squads, but I have teammates. I play with Phil. These are not people that I know. I'm just playing with random Phil mates. Reason I'm doing this is because if I die, I can actually respawn. If I play solo versus squads and I don't have teammates and I die, the game is just over. One big downside to this is obviously that they can steal your kills. Something that just happened right here. I did not get that kill right there. So you kind of have to think about, do you either want to have a little bit more of a safety net, or do you want to be able to get all the kills possible? And this is the next thing, right? I see this guy landing in. I don't have anyone else to fight right now. There is no reason for me not to chase this guy. I saw him landing in relatively close. You can see him. It's a little bit pixelated. For some reason, the quality is really bad right now. I can't really do anything about this. But he's right here, right? This little flicker of pixels right here, that's him, right? I see him landing in pretty close. And I don't have any movement anymore, unfortunately. I use that to get here. But as you can see, I'm immediately pushing this, right? In this case, I'm using a jump pad, I guess. On the way there, I find another guy that I didn't see before. I honestly did not see that guy. But as you can see, as soon as I see opportunities to get free kills, I'm getting there as fast as I can. There is no reason for me not to try to get these free kills. Because if there's someone that just lands in, they basically only have like 100 HP. They don't have a shotgun. It's basically a free kill, right? Then I see these people fighting over here. Third partying is also something you really want to try to do. If you see people fighting, this is a very good time to intervene and try to just get a few kills from that fight. And it's going to be much easier.
There's still so many people alive though. Holy shit.
At this point, one thing I say, right? I have 25 kills. There's still 38 people alive. This is something that is... You can't really control it. It is luck-based. Honestly, I was super lucky in this lobby. So this is something that you need to keep an eye on. How many people are still alive? At this moment, I already have a lot of kills, and there's still a lot of people alive. And that is very good for me, obviously, because I can still get a bunch of kills. If you notice at any point that, I don't know, maybe you have like 15 kills and there's only, I don't know, 10 people alive, go push as hard as you can if you want to get that 20 bomb. Right now, I'm not really stressing out. I don't really care if I get like 30 or 35 kills. I just want to get as many as I can. But I'm noticing that I'm not under any pressure. I'm still going to try to fight as much as possible, but you kind of have to keep in mind, what is your goal? What are the amount of kills that you want to get? And how many people are still alive? And by making this calculation, basically, you need to decide, okay, how aggressively do I have to push? Do I need to take risks or not? Right here, I don't really need to take risks. I can go for the easy kills because I still have a lot of time. But if you have 15 kills, you want to get the 20, and there's only 10 people alive, maybe you want to take some risks and try to get those kills, even if it is a little bit risky.
Bunch of them, actually.
You can see that I'm not also using jump pads. Jump pads aren't in the game all the time. During this particular moment, they were in the game, so I use jump pads to get around. Obviously, that is not necessarily always the case. As you can see, though, right here, this is just execution, right? This is something I need to differentiate, right? On the one hand, you have execution. And those are basically your mechanics, your aim, all that kind of stuff. And then you also have strategy. By the way, excuse my poor handwriting. I hope you can kind of read what I'm trying to write over here. It's execution and strategy. Execution versus strategy. Execution is something that takes quite a bit of time to develop because you have to grind out creative maps. You have to train your aim. You have to train your mechanics. Strategy is something that also takes practice because you basically want to be able to do the right things, make the right decisions very quickly and in an automatized manner. You don't want to think about it all the time. You actually want this to be a very automatic process, right? But by just watching videos like this, watching other people's gameplay that are better than you, you can learn about the strategies they use to get around the map quicker, to finish fights quicker, to find more people, and so on and so forth. So what we're talking about here mainly in this particular video is strategy. You can see that I'm picking off a lot of free kills. As soon as I see someone landing in, as it was right here, I push that immediately. There is no reason for me to be passive here. I just saw this guy landing into a bush. What do you think he has? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have the golden spaz. I'm gonna push that, and I'm gonna get that kill as quickly as possible, right? Obviously, as you can see right there, a play like this, that's like the freest kill ever. This guy did not expect me to just take the wall instantly and instantly one pump in. Those are just little things you need to know. I just knew that the Mammoth Pistol was able to one-shot the wall right there because it was kind of weak, and I know that the Mammoth Pistol can do that. Those are things that you need to know. You need to be aware of the ins and outs of every single weapon. And obviously, because in Reload, there are pretty much all the weapons that were ever in the game, and it also constantly changes. It's a little bit tricky to keep track of that, but the more you play, the more familiar you will get with every single weapon that's in the game. And the better you are at knowing every single weapon, you'll also be able to decide which weapons to take in which moment. At this point, you can see, right, I have 40 kills. There's only 6 people alive. What do I do now? Right here, I don't want my teammates to get the kills. I want to get as many kills as possible. So what do? I just walk around with my grappler, right? I try to get around as quickly as possible, and I'm just checking everything. But I'm not spending a single moment on just farming mats or doing anything useless. I'm using every single moment that I have to be productive and find people. And then right here, we have the last player, right? We have the last player. He's not really that much of a challenge. As you can see, I'm just committing to the spray right here because, yeah, I just wanted to get that kill. I knew he was probably weak, so I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for the spray so that I can get that kill before my teammates get that kill. Okay, so what are the main points that I want you to take away here? The first thing is the drop spot. You do not have to hot drop if you want to get a 20 bomb, but what you should keep in mind is if you land at a spot that's not a hot spot, try to loot up as quickly as possible and move towards another hotspot so that you can get kills much easier, right? Because on the outskirts, there's not going to be that many people. If you find people very easily, you can stay on the outskirts, but as soon as you notice that there's not that many people around anymore, try to get to the hotspots. On this map, it's Paradise Palms. On the other map, it's Tilted Towers. And then on the newest map, it's maybe something like Slurpy Swamp. The second thing that you need to think about is movement. You should always prioritize movement. The movement items in the loot pool change every single season, so you kind of need to know which movement items are good and which aren't. But one thing that you can always take is grapplers and bounce nades. Bounce nades are great because in my opinion they're the best movement item that is in the game. But of course you can only stack them to 6 and they're kind of rare, so a grappler is always a good choice. If there's jump pads, always use jump pads. Don't forget about them. If you have them, use them. If there's crash pads, you can also use those. But just keep in mind that you should always prioritize movement. I consistently drop healing items just to get movement. That is so important. Third thing to take away is productivity. What I mean by productivity is basically you don't want half of your match just you walking around, farming up mats, not doing anything. Land at your spot, wherever that is, loot up, maybe get a bunch of early kills. As soon as you notice that there's not that many people around anymore, use whatever movement you have or just run as fast as you can to the next area where you think people might be and continue fighting. Once you finish the fight, loot up, heal up, reload everything that you need as quickly as possible and move on to the next fight. You do not want to waste a bunch of time just on looting, farming, etc. Obviously, if you have no mats at all, you are going to have to farm up mats. Don't think you don't need mats, but don't prioritize it if it's not absolutely necessary. And then lastly, the fourth thing that I want you to take away is free kills. Honestly, if you watch any of my high kill gameplays, I always get a bunch of free kills. Now you could probably just say, oh, you just get bot lobbies. Bro, I get exactly the same lobbies that you do. And I've already dropped multiple 20 bombs, even in Unreal lobbies. So it does not have anything to do with the lobbies that I'm in. It really has to do with how you play those lobbies. What do I mean by free kills? Free kills are all of the time people that land in. If you can, get them out of the air. If you cannot, you can always push them as soon as you see where they want to go. And that's almost always a free kill. Also, you can use third parties. If you see a lot of people fighting, what you can do is move over there. Do not always immediately push in. Maybe you can get a bunch of kills just from a little bit of a distance. Maybe you can spray them off with your AR. Maybe you can snipe them. Maybe you can get a nice mammoth pistol shot in there. But try to get those third parties. And just keep in mind that these free kills are everywhere in Reload. Okay, if you can't find these free kills, you need to be much more aware of them. And then the last thing that is just super important is learn from others. You can do that by watching my videos. I will continue to post videos like this. And maybe you can take away a lot of things from my videos. You can simply just watch my gameplays and see what I'm doing that you might not be doing. And don't get stubborn. Don't just say, oh, these guys just get easy lobbies. Oh, these guys just get lucky. All that kind of stuff. Maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe you are just incredibly unlucky. That kind of stuff happens from time to time. But if you're a really good player, you will be able to get 20 bombs, maybe even 30 bombs pretty consistently. Let me tell you that. And you don't even have to play anything crazy like solo versus squads for that. If you learned anything from this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if I see that people like this video, I will continue making similar content, probably even better content, on how to get better at Reload, get more kills, rank up, get more wins, etc. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe so you won't miss out on that. I have now reached a point where I can consistently get high kill gameplays in Reload, even when I'm playing something like Unreal Ranked. So while I'm definitely not a pro, I really think people could easily drop way more kills by just learning from my gameplays and videos without really having to become a crazy player like a demon at the game, just by using the right strategy. Also check out my TikTok, I will be live streaming on there. And yeah, that's all I have to say for today, guys. See you in the next one, and thanks for watching. Bye bye!